Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Chord. Right on this month on The Chord, we have for you a man who comes well from Paris but basically was born to Spanish parents, and he sings in languages which are more than I can count on my fingers. But then he is a man who is a leftist basically, done a lot of work in South America, very famous in Europe, not that big in America, but soon he will be. His name is Manu Chao. What makes Manu Chao tick? Well, basically because for one reason, he's got this ideology where the world should be a place which should not be globalized. He also believes that the mafias are the biggest reason that democracies today are going to fail. He believes weak leaders are the ones who can also fail democracy, and he believes the world and nature is something that should come together because the people have forgotten and there's a divide that's happening right now. He sings in languages that go from Greek to Spanish, Italian, English. Well, he's saying it all. But also he's a man who's known for his album called Clandestino. Now, he's a very different kind of person. Now, I'll tell you exactly what happened. When he started off, he used to listen to a lot of punk music that came across the channel from Paris, that is from England. Very influenced in that. So he started playing music more than anything else with his brother. Then he came up with this band called Manu Negra, and they became pretty big in Europe and also in Latin America. They went and toured there and became even more famous. Eventually, they were disbanded in 1995 because of a clash that he had with his brother. But then what eventually happened was a band was formed again called Radio Bemba. Now, what is Radio Bemba? Basically, it is the radio station used by Che Guevara and the Cuban leader Fidel Castro when they were in the revolutionary phases. Radio Bemba and the kind of songs that they produce are absolutely brilliant. It's got a very lifting feeling when you look at it. It's got this nice groove, it's got this nice funk to it. And then you know that even if you can't understand what he's singing, you know that he's talking about being a pacifist and going ahead and doing something for the people of the world, especially the poor. He believes that education should be free. In fact, he came out with a statement that is pretty tricky, to say the least, when it comes to you being a musician for one reason. He went on to say that the United States can give and send their people into the army for free and teach them how to kill. Why can't they do the same thing when it comes to education when a country like Cuba is giving their education for free? Now, Manu Chao's music is fundamentally revolutionary. So he talks a lot about what the people should do, fight against globalization, fight against oppression. His views are leftist. At the same time, he believes that the world should become a better place. People need to understand that the divide from nature has to end. What is it about Manu Chao that makes him tick? Well, he's a leftist. He believes in the ideology of being a revolutionarist, but he also believes that the world has to become a better place and people need to do something about nature. He sings about all this in different languages. But one thing you have to understand, when he started off, it was his influence of punk that came from the English channel. English, basically England, not the English channel, because he was staying opposite. He was in Paris, so the English channel is right there. So that is a little boo-boo I've made. But then this is about Manu Chao and what makes him tick when it comes to music. Manu Chao plays a lot of different instruments, but what he also does is he layers his tracks with a ThinkPad. Now, this is an IBM small computer, and I can't believe that he does it because all he does is he just keeps on putting one track to the other. But then when he started Manu Negra, the sound was different. Radio Bemba has got a lot of stuff that comes from just songs that come out of bars, and street singing is what he says it is. But can you imagine layering songs on a small ThinkPad? That's what he did. First it was an IBM, and then eventually it became a Lenovo. He would then go and play in different places around the world, but he became a huge hit first in Colombia. He stayed in Colombia for more than 3 years with Manu Negra, his band, and then eventually when they disbanded, he left Colombia, went back to Paris, started a new band called Radio Bemba. What is Radio Bemba? Basically the station used by Che Guevara and the Cuban leader Fidel Castro in their days of the revolution. Now, one thing with Manu Chao's music is that it's very multilingual, it's also multicultural, it's got an edge to it, but also very heavily influenced by punk bands like The Clash. That's what Manu Negra was, but the sound completely changed when it came to Radio Bemba. Eventually, he would go and start playing solo, but come back with Radio Bemba again. If you look at the kind of concerts he plays, you can see the kind of energy he's got. He's all about the revolution. He believes in the world has to become a better place. The people need to start fighting what's happening within themselves first. We've come to the end of this episode of The Chord.